instant improvement with the driver. That's what you're going to get from this video, because I'm going to be sharing with you some really simple tips and advice that you can do on the golf course, which will straight away improve your performance with the driver. And the statistics show us that if you hit the driver better, more in play and potentially a little bit more distance, that will result in lower scores. So your golf bag could actually help you hit more fairways. Let me explain what I mean. Swing thoughts aren't great because they can stifle the swing and make it difficult. But what you can do is give yourself a feeling or a rehearsal of what you want to do before you actually step on the tee and hit it. Let me explain what I mean. So let's say I'm a slicer, I'm missing the fairways on the right-hand side. What I would do is I'd take my setup, hover the club maybe 6 to 8 inches away from the bag, and I'm just going to have some little swings and try and get the toe of my driver to go into the bag. You can see that there quite clearly. Now that's excessive. If I delivered the club like that, it would go seriously left. Remember, this is a feeling. I'm trying to create the opposite feel to what I'm struggling with. So I'm just feeling like the toe of the club is rotating over and hitting that bag. If I'm hooking the ball, I'm just going to do the opposite. I'm going to make those swings and feel like, the heel or the club shaft hits the bag before the toe. So I'm trying to rehearse leaving that open. Now, if I do the rehearsal and then within, let's say, the next minute, I go ahead, tee my ball up and hit it, try it. Trust me, you'll be amazed at how different the shot is just because you've rehearsed something completely different to what you're doing. So I've sliced the last 3 or 4 drives. I go ahead and I make these little rehearsals here. I exaggerate what I'm trying to do. I feel the toe working over. It's my go. I walk on. I tee it up. I now don't really need any swing thoughts because I've just given myself the feeling that I want, and that should have a pretty dramatic effect on my golf swing. And all I can say, try it. Trust me, it's almost like a little miracle fix for your slices or your hooks. Your job with the driver isn't to hit fairways. Let me explain what I mean. Let's think about a par 4. How do you play a par 4 perfectly? Well, you get your ball on the green in 2 shots and you have 2 putts. That gives you a par. So your job with the driver is to put your ball in a position where you can get your approach shot on the green. That is it. That's the only job you have with your driver. So take this hole, this is the 17th. If I miss the fairway on the left, I am completely blocked out. There's big, huge trees, they're pretty thick. I can't get the ball to the green. If I miss the fairway on the right in the rough, I'm clear. I've got a shot. So think about me hitting driver. I'm not going to be perfectly straight with every tee shot. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Chris, you hit every drive dead straight. I don't. So I'm going to have a grouping. I need to factor that in. So if I aim in the middle of the fairway and hit a shot that goes a little left, I'm blocked out. That's no good. If I change my aim and I aim slightly right side of the fairway, that's much better, because if I hit one slightly left, I'm still in the fairway. If I hit one slightly right, I'm in the right rough, but we've already said that's absolutely fine. So my aim here is not middle of the fairway. And there's so many holes that you play where middle of the fairway isn't the best option. You have to think about your dispersion. I speak about this a lot. Think about your dispersion, your average, let's say, shots that you would hit over 10, and plan that, plot that on the course. Where does it need to fit? You can see on this hole, it needs to go right side. Some of those shots would overlay the rough. That doesn't matter. I'm giving myself the best option of getting the ball down to the green, and that is your only job with the driver. That is slightly left of where I aimed, and it's absolutely perfect. It's missing the trees on the right, and that's exactly why picking smart targets is so important with the driver. For many of you, driver will be a club which, maybe you don't have a huge amount of confidence with. Maybe you've got a history of hooking and slicing and hitting golf balls out of bounds and 3 off the tee. And you can get a little bit tense and a little bit nervous, and you maybe stand on the tee and your eyes get drawn to, let's say, the bunker on the left or the long rough on the right, and that can sort of start to create tension through the hands, the arms, the shoulders. You get a little bit nervous. And when you're nervous and tense over the ball, just really hard to hit good drives. You will be amazed at how different you feel over the golf ball when you're trying to hover it and keep that club a little bit above the ground. You're just going to take the weight of the driver, and you're just going to raise it off the ground, and you're going to start your golf swing from there. Oh, I would not have that one back. So this one is great to squeeze a few more yards out of your drive without having to swing any faster. But it's also great if you're a left to right player, a little fader of the golf ball, you want to straighten that out, or maybe you're slicing it. This is actually really going to help that. And I love this. It's probably one of the tips that I use on course more than any other. It just gives instant results. So I'm going to peg them all up, and it's all really just to do with where you place your focus. You know, we know with the driver that if you want to maximize your distance, get the most out of it, we need the club to be hitting up on the golf ball. A positive attack angle maximizes your distance. We want to hit down on the irons, but up on the driver. And what you think about and where you put your focus can really impact that. So if I have my focus, let's say, a foot behind the ball, and I'm actually thinking and looking at that part of the ground, my club is more likely to bottom out here and therefore move upwards into the ball, giving me that positive attack angle. So I would have you set up and actually start with the club, you know, some 6 to 8 inches behind the golf ball. And I'm trying to basically get my club to bottom out here. That's so key for the driver. Now, because you're moving the club back from the ball, and you're probably going to do that with your shoulders, it actually sort of takes your circle and shifts it a bit more out to the right. That's why it's also great for faders and slicers, because if you're a fader and a slicer, you're likely swinging the club from out to in. So there's no reason why you can't hover the club, we've already spoken about that, and add this in. So I would go set up here, set the club back, focus on the ground, hover the club, and this starting position is brilliant to hit high draws and squeeze a few extra yards out of your tee shots. Just like that. If you're struggling with the driver, and especially if you go on the golf course and hit shots that you never hit in the practice area, and you're going to go, what's happening here? This isn't a shot that I hit. This one is going to be really helpful for you. We've got to swing the golf club. Sounds obvious, I know, it's a golf swing, but the club head needs to swing around your body. So many golfers that I've helped on the golf course try and guide the shot. They almost try and get too precise with the golf swing, and they're thinking too much about where the club's going, and they're trying to guide it down there. They never actually let the club swing freely around their body. Look at good players, and I'm talking top players. If they're stood on a tee, let's say they're on this par 5 and they're waiting for the group in front, you'll often see them making this little movement where the club's in sort of one hand, and just look at what's happening. Look where my chest is pointing, pretty much at the camera. Look how far that club is traveling without my body moving. That club is swinging around my body. Now, obviously in the golf swing, there is some rotation, we need that. But the key message here is this golf club is moving really freely around my body. If the club moves freely around your body, you're just gonna hit better drives. Let it have its own free flowing movement around your body. It's the best way to basically hit good drives. It'll probably help you with club head speed as well a little bit. So how can that be a really quick tip? Well, what I would do is I'd get you to go through your pre-shot routine, pick your target, and then as you step in, really simple, take a mental image of where you want to be at the end of your golf swing. Where you want to be is here. Club relaxed around the back of my neck. Club is lower than my hands. How many golfers have I seen where the club finishes higher than their hands because their grip tension is too tight? I said, it goes back to point 1. Hovering the club really helps. So I'm going to take this mental snapshot of where I want to be at the end. My wrists are going to be really loose, and my focus is actually just let the club swing. Give it some freedom. You're bound to be hitting more fairways now based on what we've covered so far. So let's give you a little bit more distance, a little bit more speed in the swing, equating to a few more yards. Now the misconception, well, there's 2 misconceptions. Number 1 is what we do to create more speed. But number 2, people often think that more speed means more erratic, less consistent drives. It's often the opposite way. If I gave you a piece of paper and a pencil and asked you to draw a straight line, the first time you draw it, I want you to go as slow and as deliberate as you can. There'd be some little wobbles in that line, it wouldn't be perfectly straight. Next time, as fast as you can, you go pen on the paper, woof, perfectly straight line, it would be smooth. That's exactly the same as the golf swing. So actually, trying to put a bit more speed in the swing can actually help with allowing it to swing around your body, but actually allowing the golf swing to become more natural. So the misconception on how we create more speed is I want you to do it in the backswing. If you do it in the downswing, what can often happen is we get this big rush in the change of direction. The transition gets off, gets out of sync, and that is when trying to hit it harder gives you more erratic shots. The best players in the world who hit it the longest have more energy in the early part of their golf swing. So if you want to hit the ball a little bit further and do it with consistency, when you're over the golf ball, you're basically going to try and add some more energy or some more speed into the golf swing earlier. If you make this slow, deliberate backswing and then decide that you want to hit it hard, no chance. You're going to miss the middle, you're going to start hitting all over the course, losing golf balls. Get the speed in early.